Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of Salty Stocks. We are doing a rapid, quick to press, as fast as we can, as two dads with small children trying to get this out before the news dies down. But we want to talk about the big news that was released at D23 over the weekend.
But still super high quality, though, right, Joseph?
That's right. Keeping this high quality for our fans. That's why we haven't released something in a long time. We've filmed all of these podcasts, but none of them have met our high standards of podcast quality for you, our biggest fans.
That's right. Just been deleting footage. Delete.
So let's talk about some of the minor news that came out at D23 before we get to the major news. Some minor news is more details about Disney Plus. I guess Disney Plus in itself is not minor, but in terms of what is coming to it, Star Wars Clone Wars season 8, 7? I don't know.
I think it's season 7, but a final season of the Clone Wars will be released in February. That's fine. And then the other one was they gave some information about the Cassian Andor series, and K2SO will be in that with him. Once again, I feel like that's fine, but that's kind of the small potatoes. The big announcements, I feel like, well, for Disney Plus, the big surprise announcement was Ewan McGregor coming back on stage and them confirming that they will be filming an Obi-Wan series for the Disney Plus streaming service. So I'm very excited about that. I thought that was a huge announcement.
Oh, I'm hugely excited for this Obi-Wan series. I was excited for the movie when that was supposedly confirmed, but now it's a TV show, which I think is even better. I think all fans of Star Wars can agree that Ewan McGregor is one of the best people from the prequels. Obi-Wan is the best character, and we would just love to see. And I also feel like he's just like enthusiastic. He wants to do it too. Like he's not like Natalie Portman or what's the little Anakin
Jake Lloyd.
So that's the minor news. Let's get that out of the way. Let's start with one of the two big announcements. Well, big, I guess. Not really announcements, but footage that we saw. The first one being the Mandalorian. I'll start off. Honestly, the Mandalorian is kind of creeping up on me. They haven't really released a whole lot of information about it besides a few Instagram photos, and I wasn't at Celebration, so I didn't get to see the footage there. And so this trailer was really the first time we got to see really anything, and it looks amazing. Just off the bat, has me so hyped. November is going to come sooner than, it's going to be here any day now. I'm really excited for the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I also was not at Celebration, obviously, but I did try to watch some like bootleg footage that someone filmed on their cell phone at Celebration, but it was very difficult to see. It wasn't super impressive because of the low quality of the cell phone recording, so I was kind of like, all right, people are saying the footage is cool of the Mandalorian, but it was hard for me to tell. This trailer, kind of exactly what you experienced. I felt like it kind of hyped me up for it more. Like, okay, yes, I am excited for Disney Plus for reasons other than Star Wars, but obviously the Star Wars content as well. I think the Mandalorian is going to be awesome. One of the things in this D23 presentation was Kathleen Kennedy made a point to say that the Disney Plus streaming service content for Star Wars, they are committed to having it be the same kind of cinematic quality, production quality as feature-length films. And I think when you look at the Mandalorian trailer, you can see, all right, this is going to be a high budget, quality produced show. And I think it's just gonna be kind of what's the good word for it? It's going to be kind of a revolutionary thing for Star Wars, because I think that they can do so many things with Disney Plus and Star Wars. And if the Mandalorian goes well, and then, that will just get us more pumped up for the Obi-Wan movie, because some people were upset that Obi-Wan was going to Disney Plus, but I'm like, they could make it a really high quality project, and we technically will probably get more content for Obi-Wan because it's going to Disney Plus than if it just was a feature-length movie.
Oh yeah, we'll have more storylines. We'll have more conflict with Mandalorian and Obi-Wan and Cassian Andor. I mean, all of that stuff. I thought you were going to talk about, which I'm not sure how I feel about it, the release model that they, I guess, confirmed that it's not going to be one large lump sum. It's going to be weekly installments. Is that right? I mean, did they confirm that at D23? Because I saw news reports, but I didn't hear officially that's what's happening.
I did read afterwards in multiple articles that they're going to do a block release schedule where they release, I don't know if it's going to be one episode every week or maybe 2 episodes every week, but it will be delayed. So it's not going to be like a Netflix Stranger Things where they dump the whole season in one night and you binge watch over the course of 24 hours. It's going to be a slow burn. And I actually, selfishly, I like being able to watch at my own pace and binge watching. But I think in terms of the fan community and being able to discuss it and it being like a timely discussion, I think that it's smarter to release it week by week because it's going to kind of be mirroring like Game of Thrones, where every week the new Game of Thrones episode was the topic of conversation everywhere. Everybody wanted to talk about it, what was going to happen. When an episode happened, everybody was caught up and could talk about that episode that week. With Stranger Things, you never knew where your friends were. Did they watch the whole season? Or they still haven't started season 3? So it's very difficult to kind of talk about it with your friends because everybody's in a different place in the chronology. So I think that it'll be good to have it parsed out week by week.
So the question I have then, if it is going to be parsed out, which it looks like it is, when are we going to get the season finale? They've already confirmed the season 2 is coming. When is the season finale happening? Is it happening before the Rise of Skywalker? Is it happening afterwards? And that's kind of why we're getting Clone Wars in February. They're going to have Mandalorian kind of go carry us through the winter time and have then Clone Wars meet us in February. And so then we can finish Mandalorian and then go to that. Are we going to get new episodes during kind of this Rise of Sky? Because it's going to be interesting because they have this Mandalorian stuff and they're going to be pushing that big and pushing Disney Plus. But then at the same time, I feel like they're going to have to be pushing Rise of Skywalker because that's going to come out in theaters a month later. So are they going to kind of pause, like give us a few episodes and pause for a bit so we can go watch Rise of Skywalker in theaters 8-9 times and then be like, okay, now you can come back and watch Mandalorian?
I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I'm not sure that the Mandalorian running through December is going to stop people from going to see episode 9. Or is like, well, I don't have time to see episode 9 because I'm watching the Mandalorian.
I don't think they're going to stop us being huge Star Wars fans. I'm talking about the casual people who are getting ads on Facebook saying, sign up for Disney Plus and watch the Mandalorian. And also they scroll down and be like, go to theaters and see Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Is it going to be at the same? I mean, are they going to? They're not going to know what's happening. But again, what do we care? I mean,
the marketing is definitely
right.
Right. The marketing is definitely going to overlap. Like, there's no way to get around that. The marketing is going to overlap. Disney Plus isn't. I mean, it's launching November 12th. That's a little over a month before Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker marketing is going to be in full steam at that point. A month out, they're going to have TV spots and ads all over the place. And so I think it's just going to be a dual marketing campaign where they're just marketing the heck out of both. But I don't know if Disney Plus has a lot that they can market. They don't have to rely on the Mandalorian for Disney Plus marketing.
They have Marvel. They have Fox. They have
Pixar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like the tentpole is going to be Mandalorian. Don't you agree? I mean, that's
of the original content.
Yeah.
I think of the original content, but they're launching with such a large back catalog. They confirmed that all Disney classics, even ones in the vault, will be in the catalog on Disney Plus. So families who don't even care about Star Wars are going to be buying Disney Plus so that they can watch, Snow White and 101 Dalmatians, and every movie ever made by Disney is going to be on that thing. So
and
families are
buying musical TV show and Jeff Goldblum's show and Anna Kendrick and what's his face's Christmas movie.
I will say that, I mean, this is a Star Wars podcast, but if you are a Marvel fan, if you are a Pixar fan, if you are just a Disney animation fan, if you're a Disney like High School Musical, Lizzie McGuire, there was something for all corners of the Disney fandom. There is something that you should be excited about with Disney Plus. But back to the Star Wars, back to Mandalorian, the actual content of the trailer, I felt like we still obviously don't know a whole lot about the
Yeah.
plot. What is this story about?
What's even happening other than he's going on? I guess he's going to get bounties, right? He's collecting bounties. Which is it going to be a new bounty each week? Is it going to be one big bounty, a long bounty over the season?
But I'll tell you, I mean, just though the feel of it, the atmosphere, the look, it just is like, okay, I'm going to be into this. This is going to be cool. A couple of my two highlight shots that I felt like I really liked from it was when the one guy tries to get out of the cantina and he like shoots a grappling thing at him and pulls him back in and then shoots the door so it closes. I'm like, is that guy getting sliced in half? Are we seeing that level of what is this thing rated? Are we seeing that level of gore and violence?
Can I watch this with my son?
Yeah, right.
Is this to be like, okay, gather the family? Oh gosh.
So that was pretty intense for me. I was like, wow, this is going to be gritty. This is going to be good. And then the other scene that I really liked just because it was interesting to me was when he's in his ship and he has the 4 or 5 different carbonite frozen bounties. I'm like, "Oh man, like he's obviously competent." Like I wonder who all those people are and if it's like you said every episode is a different bounty that he's frozen in carbonite to take back to the guild or something. So
I think my favorite scene was not IG-88, it's IG-11, I believe, right?
correct.
Him, I didn't play Shadows of the Empire, but I hear IG-88 was featured in that game, and he was tough to beat from what I hear.
Yes, I did play Shadows of the Empire, and I felt like every time you see IG-88, you basically think, well, game over. I am going to die right now.
The trailer seems to confirm that IG-11, who I guess is a subspecies or a similar type of droid, is just as competent and quite lethal with his skills. I also really enjoyed seeing the different characters because it looks pretty interesting. There's a Twi'lek. There's there's Carl Weathers. I don't know his actual guy's name. There's a guy from Breaking Bad. He was great. There's what's the lady's name? Oh gosh. Anyway, it looks like a lot of great actors that they got and actresses for this show.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito is in that kind of imperial garb, and they have those death troopers. And I'm thinking this is an interesting theme because this is supposed to be 6 years after Return of the Jedi, and so it seems like there's obviously still some pockets left of the Empire or Imperial troops that are hanging out.
They said 1 year after the Battle of Jakku, right?
I think so.
Okay. So is that Tatooine or is that Jakku that we're on at the very beginning of the trailer? Looks like Tatooine to me.
I saw some funny tweets that were like, "Well, we've confirmed that 60% of the galaxy are desert planets. Like we just keep having more and more desert planets."
I hope we get a story trailer soon. That seemed like more of a teaser trailer, just a bunch of quick shots. One thing I thought interesting, I think it was Alex Massar was talking about the carbonite. Like obviously the word got around that people do survive being frozen in carbonite. So bounty hunters are using that to their full advantage. That was a fun little Easter egg. I'm excited for other Easter eggs may come. And I wonder if any questions that we have about the Resistance Age, I think is what it's now being called, are going to be answered in The Mandalorian, because there are a lot of questions that we still have yet to get answered, and I don't even think we're going to get them answered in The Rise of Skywalker. So let's transition there and talk about the new footage that was released this morning of, what is it even called? It's not a trailer. It's not behind the scenes footage. What is it technically being called?
I feel like people have been calling it a sizzle reel.
A sizzle reel. So the first minute is old footage from episode 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then 7 and 8 to kind of get us ready for the footage in episode 9. So Sean, let me ask you, why did they do it out of order? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do they know how numbers work? Ugh.
Obviously, they did it in release date or release order. But one of the things that actually they might not have even done it in release order. There might have been some switch up. But the point is that they're clearly going to drive home this idea of episode 9 is the end of the saga, a culmination of all 9 movies. And so we see in some of this marketing that we've seen in it, including this footage we saw this morning, them using footage from every single movie type of thing. And I mean, we'll dive more into this, I'm sure, today and then in more videos and when we actually see the movie. But I'm just curious to see how much of the movie actually pulls from the original trilogy and the prequels.
It's too tall of an order. I'm getting worried about this. I don't know how they're going to do it. How are they going to tie in something from all of those movies? Like, are they going to go to Naboo? Are they going to, I mean, I guess I just kind of worry a little bit. I like the idea. I love the idea. Is it going to be 3.5 hours? I mean, I don't know. How are they going to tell not only a coherent story that needs to be told, but also, which I feel like is a job in and of itself, in the way that The Last Jedi ended and set them up. Like, there are, 15 members of the Resistance left, and a broken lightsaber and some old Jedi books. You know, like, that's what we got. And to tell the story of how the First Order is then, I would assume, is taken down, but also tie in Gungans and, Ewoks. I don't know how it's going to happen.
Because if Boss Nass isn't in it, I'm walking out of the theater. If I get 25% in and he doesn't have a cameo, I'm out.
Well, speaking of Boss Nass, have you heard the fan theory that Count Dooku is actually Boss Nass in disguise? It's very interesting. You should look it up.
Yeah, I'll need to look that up because I love those types of fan theories. But let's get back on track here. So, you know what? Before we get into the details of each of the new shots we got, to me, and tell me if you agree with this, to me, this sizzle reel, the fact that the first 75% of it was the footage from old movies, to me screams damage control. And what is making me concerned about episode 9 is similar to what you said. I'm like, they have to commit to one or the other. Are we supposed to commit to the new characters and the new storyline and the sequel trilogy and be all in on that story? Or are we coming back to episode 9 for all the nostalgia? Which one is it? Because to me, episode 8 seemed to send the message of, we're throwing out the nostalgia. You got to move on from the nostalgia parts. You have to start fresh with this story. And now it's like they're saying, but no, oh, you didn't like that? Come back, please. We have the nostalgia too. Palpatine's back. And we'll start all our sizzle reels with scenes from the original trilogy and things like that. And it's like, well, which one is it? What are we supposed to expect from episode 9? Is it a nostalgia fan service tour? Or is it a satisfying conclusion to Rey and Kylo and Finn and Poe? And I think that one of the things that the sequel trilogy has struggled with so far has been the balance between the character arcs of the legacy characters and the new characters. I've heard so many times people describe how, for better or worse, the prequels, you know that the story is the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker. That's what the prequels are. Then in the original trilogy, for better or worse, you know that it is the story of Luke's journey from farm boy to Jedi, the hero's journey. That is that's the driver of the original trilogy. Whose story is the sequel trilogy? I think
Kylo's? Is it Rey's? Is it Finn's? Is it Poe's?
Right. It's very difficult to know. I think the best case is that it's Rey's.
Yeah, I agree. It's Rey's.
But it's not as clear as the other two trilogies. And so you get to a place where to me, I think the problems are the things that you build up in for Rey's arc in Force Awakens are not carried through to Last Jedi. They're all squandered and destroyed. And then it's like, well, we haven't seen 9 yet, so it's very difficult to know. So it's hard to judge it right now. Maybe they totally knock it out of the park, and we feel like Rey's story is satisfying. But
in the infamous words of BB-8, I've got a bad feeling about this because I agree. I totally agree, and I felt the same way watching this. I feel like Star Wars, Lucasfilm, is in damage control with The Last Jedi and Solo. They've divided the fan base, and I worry about this Palpatine stuff. As much as I'm excited that he's supposedly in the movie, I am so worried about things that I've been hearing and theories that I've heard about what's going to happen that I'm like, what about Rey and Poe and Finn and Kylo? Like, why do we need Palpatine here? But
so the other thing is,
I hope to be surprised.
The other thing is, when we're taking this into account, that J.J. Abrams, when he introduced one of the first things he said at this panel was he went on and on about Carrie Fisher and how Carrie Fisher is the heart of this story, and it wasn't going to work without Carrie. And I think that tugs at everybody's emotional heartstrings because obviously we love that character, we love Carrie, all that kind of stuff. But the rational side of my brain, thinking about the narrative in the story, I'm like, really? She's the heart of the story? In Force Awakens, she was basically just gave some exposition. She didn't do anything. In Last Jedi, she did more, but it wasn't. I mean, I'm like, so is the sequel trilogy Leia's story? If she's the heart of this story, like everything hinges on Leia. I'm expecting Leia to be at best what she was in The Force Awakens in this movie, which is some exposition.
And I think that'll be the case. I think the Leia stuff will happen at the beginning of the film, and I don't know how they're going to shoehorn the footage in there. That's another worry of mine, like this footage that obviously wasn't written for the Rise of Skywalker is being used and reshot, I guess, in a way. I totally agree. Here's the problem with the prequels was we knew what the end of the story was, and George Lucas in Episode 3 had to fit everyone in their right, all the puzzle pieces in the right place. Luke had to get to Tatooine, Leia had to get to Alderaan, Yoda had to get to Dagobah. You know, he had all these pieces, he had to get them in there. And so we kind of know that's what's going to happen. Then with this sequel trilogy, we don't know what's going to happen, but all of a sudden they're like, but wait, don't forget about these people. And we're like, but we love these characters. This is their story. As much as I'd love to have Rey fight Palpatine in the Coruscant Senate room and like get justice for Yoda and defeat him there, I don't want that to happen at the same time.
Now that would be subverting some expectations, all right?
Okay, can we talk a little bit, speaking of Palpatine, my brother Rob and I I don't want to speak for Rob. I strongly dislike the teaser poster. I strongly dislike it. That face and it's only because of Palpatine. It's only Palpatine's face that I dislike. Everything else, awesome. Love it. Palpatine's face, is this from Rebels? Is this the character model from Rebels and they just superimposed it up there?
So I got to tell you, there's been a lot of talk about this on the internet, and theories, I don't think have been confirmed, but basically you can tell. You know what Hot Toys are? They're like those figurines that you can buy that are kind of statue-esque, high-quality statue figurines that you can buy of like Star Wars toys and different Marvel things and stuff like that. There's a Palpatine Hot Toy that people have taken and superimposed it, and it's like they literally took a picture of the Hot Toy and just did some Photoshop effects on it and put that. That is not Ian McDermott's face.
Okay, then that confirms that Palpatine is not Palpatine in the flesh is not in the movie. That confirms it right there. There's no way they'd use a toy as the image.
I wouldn't go that far, but I will say
I'm going that far. He's not in it. His voice is, or he has. I don't want to get to my theory yet. I want to say that to the end. But anyway, continue. You just
Okay, I will agree with you. I at first glance I thought the poster was cool because any new Star Wars thing I get a little excited, like, ooh, that's cool. And
Yeah.
the more I've seen it, I'm like, yeah, I see how people are upset about the Palpatine thing because he looks cartoonish. It looks like an animated movie, and then Kylo and Rey at the bottom. But this goes back to our previous point, which is, first of all, I'll say just another plug. If Carrie Fisher is the heart of the story, why isn't she on the poster? No, but clearly there are so many things going on in the sequel trilogy, and I feel like, all right, they're gonna hone in on the Rey Kylo thing. That's the obviously Poe, Poe and Finn and Rose and BB-8 and all these new characters and stuff. It's like they're all ancillary at this point. It's the Rey Kylo. If you had to tie up one storyline, it has to be that one. And I'm actually a little disappointed that the poster gave away such a huge spoiler on who's going to win between Kylo and Rey. Did you notice that Kylo Ren has the high ground in the poster?
The battle's over. He has the high ground.
Like, could you be any more subtle? Like, why are you giving away the whole movie right now?
I do think, and that poster seems like it's the same the same scene as shown in the sizzle reel of them fighting. I do think that that's from the beginning of the movie. I don't think that's the penultimate battle that they're going to be showing there. Maybe it is. I don't know. I do think that's from the beginning of the movie, but that is interesting. I did not catch that.
Yeah, so I wonder if there will be obviously more posters or another poster that comes out. But to your point, I think it leaves the door open that maybe Palpatine isn't in the flesh in the movie. I still think he's going to be. This is what I'll say. If he's not, it's like the ultimate troll by Disney.
Like, I think he's going to be in it. I don't think he in the flesh is going to be in it.
So he's just a hologram or a clone or something?
I honestly think he's possessed someone.
Yeah.
And I think he's possessed dark side clone Rey. And I'm not joking with you. I'm being 100% serious. I think Rey, I saw it on the Star Wars Reddit page today, and I fell in love with this theory. Here it goes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rey, as a child, was a twin. She had a twin sister. One twin was sent down to Jakku to live a life. The other was kept by Snoke and trained in the side of the dark side and was possessed by the spirit of Emperor Palpatine. Kylo Ren knows about the other girl, Rey, hence the reason in The Force Awakens when his little commandant comes up to him and says that the droid has been found with the girl, and Kylo Ren has this really big overreaction of what girl, he knows that there's this other girl out there, and I think that is the double-bladed lightsaber Sith Lordess. Is it Lord or Lordess? Anyway, Rey, except it's not Rey, R-E-Y. It's R-E-E-E-E-E-E-Y.
Which would be consistent with Legends material. So
I am fucking the idea that it is a Force vision of Darkseid Rey. I'm going all in. That girl opens her mouth and it's Palpatine's voice coming out. Okay, and here's another bit of evidence. Daisy Ridley said at D23 after the sizzle reel was shown that she was surprised that footage of her was used. Why would that surprise her? Because it's a huge plot point.
Because she didn't actually film that. It was her twin filmed that, and she didn't even know that footage existed.
Who's that up there?
They didn't know that they had to cast Daisy Ridley, who was a twin, and had to use her sister. Anyway, I think that I actually won't shoot down your theory. I think it's plausible because of all the Legends and extended universe material that focused around the Emperor cloning himself and things to keep himself alive. So that's not outside of the realm of possibility that he has possessed Rey. Here's the thing. If it is going to be a possession, he possesses Rey. There's not going to be another twin clone of Rey. I think that is now two like very far leaps of not only does Palpatine possess Rey, but it's not actually Rey. It's a evil clone of Rey that he possesses. I think if he possesses
twin.
Okay, a twin. Rey's evil twin, which is the most cliche thing you can possibly say. Her evil twin is now in the movie. I think that I think that last shot of Rey with the double-bladed red lightsaber and the dark hood and cloak is, in my mind, most likely some sort of vision or projection or nightmare type thing, similar to Luke with his cave on Dagobah experience, or something that Palpatine is manipulating Rey or manipulating Kylo to show this is what could be or could have been if you turn to the dark side. Look at how powerful you would be, that type of thing, to tempt Rey. Or he possesses Rey. That is as far as I'm willing to go with the explanation of Rey. I don't think that there will be two Reys fighting each other in this movie.
Like Captain America versus Captain America?
Yeah, I don't think that that's happening here.
Okay. Interesting. I like your idea, but I would like to also point out that the lightsaber she's holding is not a clean red lightsaber. It is a fragmented, and how do they call it with Kylo Ren's lightsaber? It's like all
an unstable crystal.
Unstable cracked kyber crystal. I mean, I think
also that hilt that has that hinge on it right there is the same lightsaber hilt that the Jedi Temple guards used in Rebels.
Yeah, I thought I remember that from somewhere. I couldn't remember. It wasn't the one that they had like the helicopter blade one. It wasn't like that. I absolutely love the idea of that lightsaber. That looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, so I think there are going to be a lot of theories about this, but I think you and I will both agree that put in that sizzle reel is a complete misdirect by J.J. Abrams.
Of course.
There's no way that this is just an actual point in the movie where the real Rey, of her own free will and choice, turns to the dark side.
No, that is not the real Rey. That is either a possession, a force vision, or an evil twin sister. Okay.
Wait, let me remind you that J.J. Abrams, who made a film, maybe you've seen it, called The Force Awakens, and all of the promotional material leading up to that was Finn with the lightsaber, and that was a complete misdirect.
Yep, Finn had the lightsaber in all the shots, and I was talking to Abby about it. I was like, he's the king of it, and so we assumed with the Last Jedi trailers that they are all misdirects, like Kylo Ren attempting to blow up his mother. We're like, oh, that's not happening. Well, actually, that did happen.
They were like kind of misdirects, but not really.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about red-eyed C-3PO. This is a very interesting thing that I feel like has gotten almost more attention and more memed than the double-bladed lightsaber, is this red-eyed C-3PO. I gave my theory first about Rey. You give us your theory what this Sith Lord C-3PO is all about. What's happening?
Well, I think it's going to be our first canon occurrence of a force-sensitive droid. And if you thought the Darth Jar Jar theory was interesting, wait until you hear my Darth C-3PO theory.
Ooh.
Right? This poor droid for 10 movies has been the butt of every joke. He has been dismissed. He basically single-handedly saves the rebellion in A New Hope when he relays to R2-D2 to shut down the trash compactor. All right? And he's never given any credit or any due. And you know what? Palpatine's like, before I possess Clone Ray, I need some sort of. I'm gonna possess C-3PO. I'm
Well,
gonna possess.
I would feel like Voldemort just going from body to body.
That's right. He's looking for unicorn blood. When he can't find anything, he feasts on the wires inside C-3PO.
Is it Ewok blood? He is on Endor, I guess, right?
That's right. Now, I don't know what it is. I saw some funny memes about how directly after you see C-3PO in that shot, you see this huge red laser destroying a planet, and people are like, "Was that C-3PO?" Like he's now a super weapon. I think that I don't know what it is, but my logical guess is that somehow some sort of program he's uploaded some sort of programming that is like assassin droid programming or something, where he now has some evil, sinister programming uploaded into his mainframe. That's what I think has happened.
It's scum. Let's talk a little bit about. I got to give credit to my brother Andrew, who pointed out to me the coming out of hyperspace of the Resistance looks awesome. We have the appearance of A-Wings, X-Wings. We have a blockade runner. We have a new ship, which kind of looks like the Ghost silhouette, but I don't think it is. And the B-Wing makes an appearance. We love the B-Wing. But then my brother Andrew pointed out on the Empire First Order side, I guess, is it the Empire?
It's not the First Order.
It's definitely not the First Order. They, again, do not know how to do battle in a 360-degree field of play because they all line up in a straight line in neat, orderly rows. And I don't think it'd be too hard to send a few resistance ships through light speed and knock them all out. You got to spread them around, people. The single file line isn't working anymore. It's not the Revolutionary War.
Here's what I think about I think the next biggest thing to me that was interesting about this trailer was the starships. So first of all, as cool as that resistance scene was, that was still only about maybe 30 X-Wings and ships. Like, they're going down against a gazillion Star Destroyers. I will have to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Colin Canella. He sent me this text today. He's a big Star Wars fan. And he said this: "When will the First Order run out of ships? I saw a gazillion Star Destroyers and another powerful weapon. Star Wars isn't aligning with basic economic principles. If the First Order was on Shark Tank, the sharks would be out." I have to agree with him. Until I saw that they were actually Imperial Star Destroyers, Palpatine era Imperial Star Destroyers, I thought, this is ridiculous. How does the First Order keep building up this war machine?
I mean, let's go back to the episode 7. How did they build a planet-sized weapon? Like, that's unbelievable in and of itself. And you're right. And now this, but it does look like it's Imperial, which leads credence to the idea that these were hidden. But how do you go about hiding 200 unaccounted for Star Destroyers? Like,
not only are they hidden, but you have to think these are all fully manned and staffed. And so there are literally millions of people that have been hiding in space, loyal to Emperor Palpatine, waiting for his return or his rise or something like that. And so I've seen so many theories about, is it going to have to be the Resistance and the First Order team up to take on Palpatine's fleet? Like, how is this going to happen that Palpatine has this massive fleet of Star Destroyers now? I feel like the Resistance and the First Order do not have that amount of firepower.
You're jumping to conclusions. We don't know that it's Palpatine. I'm saying it's Rey. She's the one in charge of that armada of ships.
Oh, all right.
You'll see. And she's standing on the front one in space, twirling her red lightsaber. That's how it's going to go down.
Breathing outside of space, and then Leia, Mary Poppins, McGonagall's through space, like Captain Marvel, and starts shooting through all the Star Destroyers, and they all just start crashing to the surface.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think that one of the things we've talked about before, one of the things that the sequel trilogy has been lacking to me is a large-scale space battle. So I think hopefully we'll get that in Rise of Skywalker, a la Rogue One Battle of Scarif, which I think is maybe my favorite space battle in all Star Wars. I mean, there are some really cool space battles in all the other trilogies. We didn't really get one in Force Awakens. We got one on Takodana, but We didn't really get one in Last Jedi. That was like a slow speed chase running out of gas.
Gas first.
Yeah. So yeah, some space battles would be nice. It looks like there's obviously a huge threat either from Palpatine or Rey, or the First Order has a lot of Star Destroyers. So yeah, I think that will be interesting to see. I think this now, I mean, what's funny is that through all of this, because there are so many moving pieces now, I've like forgotten about Luke. I'm like, I don't know how Luke is going to fit into this. I don't think he is. I think he's going to be this Force Ghost cameo. Lando maybe will be involved in the space battle. Like I said, Leia, I'm not really sure. I think she'll be exposition. But if there is a legacy character that obviously is going to take center stage here, it's going to be Palpatine. And I just think there are so many different scenarios that I could see happening with how they're going to use Palpatine that I'm a little bit nervous, because the margin for messing it up is huge, and the margin for like getting it right and making it feel like, okay, this makes sense, is very narrow to me.
Yeah, they're going to have to tell, and I'm sure they will. I know I'm going to love the movie. I'm almost certain that I'll see it many times. I know I'm going to like it. I'm just that type of person.
Right. But this is what I'll say. We've talked about the casual fan before, and you think about, with the casual fan sitting in that movie, if it's a Rey had an evil twin that Palpatine has now possessed and all this stuff, people are going to be like, what? Like, what are you talking about? It's going to jump the shark.
Standing ovation during the movie. You're like, subvert our expectations.
Subvert our expectations. Yeah. So it'll be, I mean, I can't get a read on it. I feel like I've heard so many different theories at this point that all of them seem somewhat plausible. Like, that might be it. I mean, that might actually happen. Who knows?
Yep. It's true.
I'm just wondering how we're going to get Force Ghost Anakin, Force Ghost Obi-Wan.
Okay, did you hear the breathing of Darth Vader in the trailer? And it wasn't part of the original sort of little montage. It was near the end. I wonder if that was a clue we were supposed to pick up on, that maybe somehow, I mean, we've seen Darth Vader. I mean, we're not going to see Darth Vader, but maybe, I don't know. Could Kylo don the mask, put on Vader's mask?
So this is another point that I've seen mixed reactions to on Twitter and things like that, is some people going back to this discussion of, why are we now, I mean, is this going to be part of the marketing promotion? Like, the Vader breathing is like, remember Vader? Remember how cool that was? Come see our movie, Vader. And it's like, that is not even part of this story anymore. I guess it is, because Kylo Ren like idolizes Vader, but it's just this battle that the sequel trilogy has gone through its entire lifespan of, are we trying to hook people with the nostalgia, or are we trying to help it make it stand alone on its own merits with the new characters? Which one is it going to be?
I feel like it was definitely, we may be getting too far off track here, but I'll just say, I do feel like it was necessary to have Luke, Leia, Han in episode 7, of course. But their story, I fear, and I think you agree, may be overshadowing all the other people's stories if we continue on with this. Hey, look, it's Palpatine. Hey, look, it's Vader. Hey, Luke and Leia. And I care about Finn and Poe and Rey.
Well, and it's I mean, to me at this point, I said this in one, I think our last Jedi video. At this point, I care about Kylo and Rey.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be fine to watch Finn and Poe. Like, I don't hate those characters, but I'm not as invested in what happens to them. It's all about Rey and Kylo to me at this point. But going back, I mean, we've talked about this before, and this doesn't even necessarily have to end up in the podcast episode, but we've talked about how there seems to have been obviously a lack of plan when this sequel started. And one of the things that I remember reading, and I've read again over the last couple of days, is that when Kathleen Kennedy originally approached J.J. Abrams about doing episode 7, the big question that Kathleen focused on was, what has Luke Skywalker been doing all this time? Where is Luke Skywalker? And episode 7 was such a focus on where is Luke? Luke has vanished. Yes, we got Rey and we got the new characters, but it was all in this question of them searching for Luke. And then it just, that theme has not carried over, because then Last Jedi obviously took it a different way, and then it became,
Oh wait,
he's a
he's an old
disgruntled hermit.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been really doing anything that significant, other than it was significant because he felt like he had to take himself out of the fight, but it wasn't significant in the way that Force Awakens built up. Like he was actually actively trying to do something. He wasn't. And so it
actively trying to destroy the Jedi is what he was doing.
right. So now you get to Rise of Skywalker episode 9, and now we're left with, once again, what is the theme or the story of the sequel trilogy? Because it started with this heavy legacy character focus with the new sequel characters kind of meshed in, and that, I don't feel like that has been a smooth transition.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. After D23 weekend, let's do a recap. Are you more or less excited for Rise of Skywalker?
I think I'm more excited. I think that I am the type of personality that with every new trailer, every new TV spot, I will get more excited. But along with my rising excitement will be a rising level of, are they going to be able to pull this off? A little bit of skepticism on what's going to happen here.
I agree. I felt like the little montage of clips went on way too long for this trailer. Like, we get it. Like, either show me new footage or don't show me. Show me behind the scenes stuff. I don't want to see old stuff thrown in my face again.
To sum it all up in one statement, it makes me nervous because it almost was like a message was being sent. We don't know if Rise of Skywalker can stand on its own merit, so we're going to feed you the nostalgia of, remember, you really do love Star Wars, all these things, look how excited you are, and the feel goods about seeing the binary sunset and Luke as a farm boy, and all this, the prequel stuff and all this stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, I do feel good about this. And then a couple things at the end of Rise of Skywalker, and you're like, what? What's going on here? But I just feel like Rise of Skywalker is trying to wrap up this trilogy. It's trying to wrap up a 9-movie saga. It's a very tall order, and I think that I'm just maybe trying to reset my expectation that I just want to enjoy the movie. I don't want to put this expectation on it that it has to be the best Star Wars movie of all, 10 or 11 Star Wars movies.
It seems like they're trying to do an Endgame sort of finale. They're trying to wrap up 22 films, in Endgame's case, to try and give us the ultimate fan service and the ultimate end. Well,
I will give it an Endgame stamp of approval, Endgame status, if we see a Gungan. If there's no Gungan, no Endgame status.
Oh, I'd love to see a Gungan or something. Well, I'm excited for both Rise of Skywalker and Mandalorian. Honestly, at this point, I'm almost more excited for Mandalorian because I know less about it, and I feel like there's, well,
I could not disagree with you more.
I don't know if I agree with myself anymore either. Because I don't know anything about Mandalorian. And I don't even know the main character's name. All right, I take it back. Rise of Skywalker all the way.
I feel like I am excited about Mandalorian, but come on, you cannot. Rise of Skywalker is going to be.
It was a false flag.
It's going to be even when the new trilogy comes out in 2022 or whenever that new one comes out, I think it's not going to be the buildup of 40 years and 9 movies of character arcs. This is going to be a very significant Star Wars experience.
I agree. Well, it looks like my dryer's telling me that we got to end this podcast.
All right. Well, do you have I don't know if you're trying to make a joke about salty socks being in the dryer or. Or your
Oh.
actual dryer is dinging at you.
Can you not hear the dryer in the background going?
No, I didn't hear it.
Oh.
Well, Joseph, we thank you for talking with me tonight about this. Everybody, you can look online on YouTube and find the sizzle reel and things like that. Tell us what you think about the footage. What do you think about The Mandalorian? Are you excited for it? What do you think about the episode 9 footage? What's your theory about Rey and her double-bladed lightsaber? Is it a clone? Is she possessed? What's going on?
Yeah, do you want to share with me your Disney Plus login and password? Anything would be appreciated.
That's right. But until next time, Joseph, what do these people at home need to do?
You know what they got to do? They got to keep those socks salty.
Keep them salty, people. And we'll see you next time in 3 months.
Hey.